Welcome back to Feel Free, the only podcast that will tell you to chase your dreams and also call you out on all your bullshit, myself included, because we're all in this together. If you haven't already, give us a like, subscribe, follow, and share on all your favorite listening and social media platforms. We sincerely appreciate the love and support from everyone. Wouldn't be here without you. So without further ado, let's get this started. I'll be your host, John Cerone, as usual. Today I am joined by Joe Lams, and we're here to talk about being adaptable. So what's up?
Yo, glad to be back.
Back in business again. So the purpose of this podcast is to talk about the importance of adapting to new situations, because we're in the middle of adapting to certain things in our lives. So we feel that hopefully by talking about them, it'll spur us to deal with them a little better, but also give you some insights, tips, and tricks on how to deal with some of the changes in your lives. I'm starting most of these podcasts off by looking up a definition of whatever I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
So the definition of adapt is to make something suitable for a new use or purpose, to modify, or to become adjusted to new conditions. So that's going to be the basis of the podcast we're doing today. I wanted to start out, first of all, to talk about where we're coming from when we're talking about this. Our stories at the moment. So there's a couple things that have happened in my life that have put me in a position where I need to adapt. But then there's also a couple things that's happened in Joe's life that's also making or forcing him to adapt as well.
Yeah, aren't we all just adapting on the daily basis, right? Like, hasn't that what's gotten us to where we are today as a human species, right? It's just think of just like that constant adaptation, right? But no, I think, for me personally, it's definitely been a very humbling experience the last few weeks, I would say. Living away from home, just the growth that I've seen in myself has been tremendous, right? And now I'm kind of a little bit of a reality check in the sense that I'm forced, I wouldn't say forced, but I've decided to.
That's a better way to put it.
Bite the bullet, if you will, and move back with the parents in a few days' time. So
sometimes you got to do what you got to do, though,
Yeah, it's definitely, like I said, a very humbling experience, but I think I'm in a great place mentally to really just move back home and save some money up. I think just in the trying times of inflation and just how expensive everything is right now.
Yeah.
I think being able to just save some money up is the number one priority for me right now.
True. Pay off some bills too.
Yeah.
I'd say we're a little different because you're in a better headspace now. You're able to move back home for something like that.
Oh yeah.
I would not be able to. That was the joke. We were talking to somebody at the office today, me and Mom, and because she was telling him how my one child is moving out and my other one's moving back in. And then he looked at me and I'm like, oh no, I'm not moving back in. She goes, oh, he'll never move back in. And I'm like, I will absolutely never move back in.
Yeah.
Because she goes, he wouldn't move back in even if he was going to save $5. And I'm like, I'll pay $5 to not ever have to move back in.
Yeah. It's, like I said, it's humbling. I mean, I'm literally turning 28 years old in less than a month, right? And it's like,
yeah,
that's probably the last thing anyone wants to do in their late 20s is move back to their parents' house.
Especially when you've been living off on your own for a little bit.
Yeah, but I'm just taking it in stride, I think. For me personally, just continuing to chase my dreams of becoming an aspiring elite athlete and runner, and on top of that, just my career in IT and whatnot. So it's just like, just focusing a lot on that, and like I said, just getting to save a little bit of money, I think is very important, just to set myself up for what's to come down the road, right?
Yeah.
So I think sometimes you got to slow down to speed up, they say, right?
Yeah, right. I mean, you could have. Now, there are two ways you could have went about this. You could have extended your lease, or you could have moved to a new apartment, which would have been, in my opinion, financially irresponsible.
Oh, yeah.
I think most people would say that, though, too,
Yeah, with just how expensive everything is. I mean, like I said, financially, I could definitely afford it.
Yeah, absolutely.
With just my current situation. But I also feel like given just everything that I have right now at my disposal, it made a lot of sense just to move back home. I think just getting to save money for the next like 6 months is really important.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Just, you think of how expensive rent is. Like, all right, if I'm paying $1,500 a month over 6 months, like, oh shit, I could actually save like $9,000-$10,000, right?
Yeah.
So that's kind of the way I've looked at it. But I'm happy with the decision. I'm looking forward to it. Definitely going to be some distractions and a little bit of an adjustment period for sure. But at the same time, just keeping my eyes on the prize, just learning to best handle every day with whatever curveballs thrown at me and continue to just grow and develop and chase those dreams, man.
Yeah, it'll pretty much just be you having to say no to all the sugar and nasty food that mom keeps stocked in our house.
Maybe I could help them out a little bit while
Hopefully.
I'm back home. Change the diet up a little.
They won't listen to any of us, man.
Whip them into shape.
Let's hope so.
Yeah, I was over at the house, I think 2 days ago, and man, the amount of just non-nutritional food.
It's crazy.
It's just like what is this? I mean, it's the typical American diet, unfortunately, just ultra processed garbage. But yeah, I don't know how anyone survives on that.
And when I tell mom, like at the office, like how bad it is, she's like almost delusional about it. She'll like literally think like it's not bad.
Yeah, it's like, well, this is fine. This is what I've been eating for the last 30 years.
It's okay if I do it here and there. And I'm like, no, because you're like still doing it.
Right.
Like you haven't made any like good decisions though to even warrant you to be able to like have this as like a little victory.
Yeah.
You know, it's like
I deserve it.
Right. There's like you're still doing it.
Oh.
Another thing that kind of you've been going through is like the work stress, right? Adapting to a new like work situation with your career.
Oh yeah, I think that's really important, especially in today's day and age, if you will. Right, we have burnout everywhere.
Oh my God, it's crazy.
Career paths. I have the luxury right now of working a remote job, which is nice, but at the same time, it definitely has its ups and downs. I mean, a lot of my teams are in the UK, so up pretty early, just facilitating and running team meetings and whatnot, getting reports out. So I think there's going to be stress in any career that you choose, right? But it's more about like how you actually like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like disassociate from that stress and just bring yourself back to like that center, like happy place, right? Like,
yeah.
I think it's really important just to kind of cycle through that and just understand it for what it is. Like, yeah, like you're going to have stressful days and you're going to have good days, but as long as you have like some built up mechanisms that help you deal with that stress, like you'll be all right.
Yeah, of course.
So,
I mean, having like a good routine to stick to after or while you're in burnout mode.
yeah,
You know,
definitely big.
like
And I think recognizing it as it's coming on.
Yeah,
like,
of
shit,
course.
Like I just went super hard this 3 weeks and felt like I barely slept, right? It's like, that's one thing that I try and prioritize at all costs. It's like, all right, how do I get 8 hours of sleep?
Yeah,
8 hours
for
sleep,
sure.
8 hours sleep every day, you know?
but you recognize those warning signs though. You
Oh
know?
yeah, for sure. I think waking up a little groggy and just like not fully energized is a telltale sign. Like, man, maybe I'm like
Overworked.
overworked, just stressed, and I think it's hard to recognize it in the moment, right? Like as you're going through your workday, you're just like, well, this is just normal. I just am like super high strung because people are asking me to do a lot of things. I'm working closely with people. There might be heated discussions, arguments, this, that, and other, right? And you just kind of like write that off as normal, or that's just like a tough work day.
It's like the baseline though.
But it's like, really, you're not like, for me at least, it's like, man, I got to recognize like what that's actually doing, because then I got to go out and run 7-8 miles and work out and cook a nice meal and all that. So it's just like, okay, that's a great de-stressor. There was the word I was actually looking for earlier.
Yeah.
Trying to find that de-stressor, and the running for me is super therapeutic, because I can be in meetings all morning and afternoon and then just go hit a nice run and just literally zone out and kind of reset, so to speak. So
Yeah.
that's been a huge help for me in the in the stress category of things.
For sure. Yeah, I mean, having that thing to look forward to at the end of the day, though. So, like, before you weren't, like, you didn't have a lot on your workload because of the project you were working on.
Yeah, a lot of the teams I was working with were in India, so it was very early mornings, but then, early afternoons were pretty lax.
Yeah, but now you got smacked with like this project that's like taking a lot out of you.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot more demand. Just this global project we're working on, one of the biggest ones at the company currently. So yeah, it's definitely a huge demand just in my own like mental threshold of what I can kind of take on and handle.
Yeah.
And I'm learning, I'm stretching for sure. It's definitely tough, I'm not gonna lie. But at the same time, it's like, man,
I mean, you're getting better at it though.
Yeah, what you actually like learn from it and how you develop as a person is super beneficial. And I think you're never gonna bite off too much because you can just kind of imagine like, okay, this is what I can handle. Like, shit, I need help with this. I need guidance here or there, right? So it's like, I don't think you're ever going to take on too much, but at the same time, it's just like, okay, how do I come back and just not overwork myself on a weekly basis?
That's tough though. Yeah. So we covered like the apartment and the work stress. I mean, financial stress kind of came from you moving home, not dealing with the apartment and stuff, right?
Yeah, I think like financial stress is everywhere though, especially for me lately. It's like, man.
And by no
groceries,
means,
so freaking
yeah, but
expensive.
by no means you're not working some minimum wage job.
No,
like you've got a good job now, right?
Yeah, it's nice having a good paying career. Like, I think the money aspect of things is definitely not what it used to be, where it's like, man, I'm just like living paycheck to paycheck, trying to just like scrape to make ends meet, right? Like, it's nice definitely having some money and a good paying job, but at the same time, it's just like, man, where's all my freaking money going?
Yeah.
Right? It's just like, just sucking me dry.
Fucking taxes and living expenses at this point
it's
now, man.
It's insane, actually. But I think as long as you have a plan with your money and what's the word? Like accountability for each dollar.
Yeah, I think it's discipline too.
It's like, where is every dollar going?
Actually going.
Because like when you're like dead ass broke, like I've been broke as fuck.
Broke is a fucking joke.
Like I could put $4.50 into my gas tank right now. All right, here we go.
That's all we got.
Yeah, and you know exactly where every dollar's going, right?
When you're broke, when you're broke, it's know where it's all going.
I'm gonna try and stretch this a million ways, and it's like I'm still falling flat on my face. And then it's like, okay, once you start like getting some money, it's like somebody said, I think it was Danica Patrick said this on a podcast I was listening to the other day. She's like money is energy. It's like, that's just like what currency is. It's just like, it's
another form of energy.
Yeah, it's another form of energy, right? And I was like, damn, that makes a ton of sense. It's like, I'm not sitting here saying, man, I just want like unlimited amounts of money and copious amounts of money. That would be great and everything. And I definitely want to be financially well off. But it's like, I think understanding what that money actually does and using it as a tool instead of just like trying to, I don't know, chase dollar signs and money for no apparent reason.
More than things.
Yeah, material things and just like the satisfaction of just trying to like make a lot of money. It's like, okay, like what's like the actual depth behind that though? Like what's the reason behind it? And it's like when you start like unpacking that, it's like, well, I want to make money to help better myself and better all the people around me and just like,
there's a goal behind it.
Yeah, use it as a tool to create the life that I want for myself and the loved ones, families, friends, and colleagues that I interact with every day.
And but it'll come with that stress, though, is what you're saying.
I mean, yeah, like there'll definitely be stress, but like I said, I think it really comes down to just how you handle that stress, how you de-stress on a daily basis, and just understanding that, what you're doing is for
a purpose,
some purpose. Yeah, whatever you attach that to.
I think being able to like, you adapted to from having no money to having money. Like that's a big like adaptation, in my opinion. Like people think like, well, I just need to make more money and then
and then magically
then
everything like
or like my
gets better.
problems are gonna be gone, right? And then you go and like keep spending money like a fucking idiot,
right,
you know,
just like blowing it up the wazoo,
like just buying shit you don't need.
yeah, let me
right?
just like start living lavishly and living above my means. Somebody told me once, and it's stuck with me ever since, that I was like, yeah, man, if I just like make more money, all my problems will be fixed. Or I'm gonna do this, right? And he's like, money's not gonna like make you a different person. Like if you're a shitty person before you have money, and then like when you end up like coming into money, or you know gain some type of monetary value in something, right? Like you're gonna probably still be a shitty person because that's who you are at your root until you actually change that. And if you're a good person, good-hearted, good intentions, you have good values, morals, and a good compass guiding you whatever you're doing, like before you have money, like you're probably going to be a good person after you have money. Then, you know, like I don't think money's necessarily like the changing factor. Like, oh, I just need money and then it'll change this and this circumstance. Like money just like amplifies who you are as a person. It magnifies, it like puts you right under a microscope and then like blows it up. You know?
That's what. I mean, that's just power.
Yeah.
Yeah, which money equals power.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't have to talk about that, you know.
Power, energy, just the world revolves around money.
It's being able to adapt to that. I mean, like, I was able to adapt from not having money, obviously. I just had to learn how to budget my money better, especially when you give up, like, drinking. Give up doing drugs and stuff, and but you're still dealing with like the repercussions of your stupid ass spending on all those years, right?
Isn't it crazy? It's like, okay, you like replace like the drugs with something else,
like
right?
A
whatever,
hobby or something.
And it's just like, man, I'm still like my money's going somewhere. But it's like that, and I think you made a good point there. It's like how do you? It's almost like the mindset around money, right? Like your budget, because when you think about it, like, and I'm guilty of this too, like. You're not taught as a kid growing up in any of your schooling just about like any resemblance of fucking financial literacy at all.
No,
right? It's like
that's only like more privileged families.
Yeah, like you look at like high-end bankers, like they're like, oh yeah, you know what our goal is? We want kids at the age of like 12 to 14 to open up a bank account or a credit card, and we plan to get them in debt, and then we leave them there until they die. And it's just like, that's just the brutal truth though. It's just like literally things are like bought on credit and debt now because like there's just the concept of money is just out the window. It's just like back in the day when you look at our grandparents, like if they went and bought a car, they had like the money to buy that car.
Yeah, or a house too.
Yeah.
And this is where I think,
not saying that's wrong or anything.
of course. But this is where I think like being able to adapt is a huge thing, because me and Trevor talked about this a little bit too. The fact that we all hold a smartphone right now, you have all this knowledge, okay? Like just because, now I'm not going to say that growing up, if your parents don't teach you about money, that's it, right? Like you just get to blame your parents, because like mom and dad weren't really honest about money like that.
We also worked.
Yeah, we worked
at a young age.
Yeah, we worked from a young age.
One of the luxuries of having a family business is, hey, we got to make money at a young age when we were 10, 12 years old and buy our video games.
Yeah,
and
buy other stupid shit, we had that. But like to have actual knowledge about money and investing and saving and stuff, like we're at a point now, like if your parents didn't teach you that in like the 80s, or the 70s, or before like cell phones and technology, you were pretty much boned unless you like went to the fucking library and started teaching yourself. Yeah. Right? Or took a finance course at like a university. Now you can like get on your phone and you could teach yourself stuff. You could literally, if you're 12 years old, which if you're 12 years old in the United States, there's a good chance that you have a fucking smartphone. And you just go on YouTube and literally just watch hours.
Internet access in general, right?
Yeah. You can literally just teach yourself how to do a budget, how to stick to it, discipline, all this stuff, like the knowledge on money and stuff, right?
And I think a lot of that comes down to like what's your, we're going back to this adaptability and just being adaptive, right? What's like your adaptability threshold?
How much can you handle?
Like how willing are you to actually elicit that change?
Actually change?
And
well, that's
you know
tough.
what I mean? Because it's like, okay, it's one thing to actually like have the knowledge at your disposal and have this information, okay, but that's great and all, but what are we going to do with
Yeah,
it?
how do
Like,
you
how
use it?
willing are you to make that change or to recognize that you do need to change? Because that's the big thing too, is like, I think so many people, myself included, like I didn't even recognize that like I didn't know shit about finances or money.
Yeah,
And then I
right.
didn't realize like, man, like this shit's actually stressing me out like a motherfucker. And then it wasn't until like I started to actually change and really like make a concerted effort to learn about the value of money and how to make it and spend it in
But now that you have a
efficient, effective way.
But now that you have a better understanding of it, it's a lot easier to deal with that stress.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, like, I don't get too stressed about it anymore because I know when I start to get stressed, I just do a budget.
Yeah.
Like
same.
immediately, that's
Yeah.
like what happens now.
That's
like
like
in my head.
yeah, that's like my baseline. Go back to
Yeah.
like, okay, let's
Okay, I
just
just have
budget
to
it out.
budget this.
Let's see what we're dealing
But
with.
I didn't always do that. See, I did that. I started doing that 2 to 3 years ago when I got sober. So in that situation where we had years and years of just really bad habits, all habits and habits with money and stuff, there was a point where I was like, I need to change, right? And I adapted. And now whenever for the last 3 years, if I ever get like uncomfortable with a situation like my money, like that, boom, a light switch goes on. I'm like, have to budget, right? Like now I'm permanently adapted to that situation.
Yeah.
Like,
right. Like it's ingrained now, and it's
is
just like a
ingrained.
process of what you do. Yeah.
and I think like those signals are really important to be reading, right? Like from the world or from your life. Like you need to be open to those red flags, right? And I know like it wasn't like glaring to you at the living situation. Maybe a red light was flashing. It's like, oh, I still haven't found a place, or like you see all the prices of like apartments and that red light's flashing like, yo, this is all way too expensive. And then finally you're at the end of your wits and you're like, I have to move home, right?
Yeah.
So you swallowed your pride on that, you move home. Now that's even going to help with the stress on money, right? And then that's going to take away a little. Now you're at home. You do a lot of your running on that path over by the house too.
Yeah, great workout places, bike paths. I got a track right next door. It's a local high school, which is nice. So
all this stuff was happening, and you kind of rolled with the punches, right?
yeah, I think just understanding your circumstances and then just being as resourceful as possible is super key. You know, not having this woe is me mentality or
No, that's dangerous
just,
to be around though too.
yeah, it really
you
is.
know?
It's like, well, this is just the way it is. So fuck it. I guess I'm just gonna like crawl in a fucking cave.
I
And
can't.
It's just like, no, like let's just try and make the most of the situation. How can I push the envelope forward? How can I just better myself? How can I like just figure out ways to continue to just improve and have that childlike curiosity in whatever situation it is, you know?
And I'll tell you, like having that's a lot different now that we're sober.
Oh yeah,
Because like
a little more clarity
oh
in,
my
in
God,
your life
yeah.
and just like
Because that woe is me mentality was way easier to latch onto if I was smoking or drinking.
Yeah.
My God.
Oh yeah.
But we're not there anymore. So so we kind of touched base on like a couple of things happening in your life.
Yeah, I saw that you fucking rolled your ankle pretty nasty.
You haven't seen it?
Well, no, I did. Yeah.
Oh, you saw the picture,
yeah.
right? Yeah. So,
What happened there?
bro, I told I told everyone on the other podcast, this happens because I drive in the lane all the time, and that's just what happens, or I'm going for rebounds. But anyway, I rolled my fucking ankle. Probably the worst I've ever rolled it, honestly. But I've been icing it every single night, unlike the previous times I've rolled my ankle where I'm just really bad with rehab, and like Lisa gives me shit for it because I don't ice enough. But now I've been icing a lot with this one, right? So it's actually been healing a lot better, right? So that's kind of actually set me back in obviously my basketball endeavor. It's like one of the most exciting things about my week is being able to go play, right?
Yeah. It's like you seek that out and look forward to it.
I do, yeah. And a lot of like my health goals revolve around just being able to play basketball better, right? Even though it's like we've already talked about, this isn't like a G League level or a college level. It's literally just because I love the competition.
Yeah, it's just some
love
like
the sport.
good, hard, old-fashioned rec league basketball.
Yeah,
Like,
that's
it's great.
that's
you know?
literally it. All
Everyone
it
plays
is.
super hard. It's competitive to enough to get you to want to go every time. Yeah.
But now something like this happens, I injure my body, and then I like go into the gym a week after not doing anything to go lift, right? To go like do chest or arms and back. And I get in these funks with basketball where, like I've said, I only play basketball. I'll literally just ball 4 to 5 days a week.
Just zero in and just like zoned
boom,
into
basketball.
only. I'm just balling.
Like no ab days, no leg days, no lifting or anything. And like,
well, you play at the gym you work out at, right?
yes. Okay. But I am playing like 2 to 3 hours each time I go, which it's great cardio.
Yeah,
it's still good
definitely.
for my muscles and everything.
Yeah.
But in order for my body to be able to handle probably a little bit more, I have to be isolating those muscle groups, right? Mm-hmm. So I get in the gym and I do a chest day, and like the next day when I wake up, like I'm sore and I'm like, I forgot how this feels, you know? Yeah. And then I'm like thinking, every time my ankle hurts like this, it's just a reminder that, okay, when I get into basketball mode now, I have to be isolating my muscle groups. Mm-hmm. I have to be using my slant board. I have to be strengthening the muscles around my tendons. Like, there's so much work that I should be doing that I lose sight of because basketball is fun to me.
Yeah,
right?
Definitely. I mean, when you look at just like injury prevention, a lot of it has to do with just how frequent you work out and the level of workout you're doing, and then just what kind of form. Like, there's a lot that goes into it, but it's just like there's so much you can do outside of playing basketball to keep you on the court then. Right?
Yeah,
it's just like doing some band exercises.
Yeah.
I think YouTube's a great place to start, just looking up some injury prevention type working out structures, right? Like, there's so much you can do in that arena to give you the best chance to stay on the court. Obviously, there's fluky things that happen when you're playing. Like,
I'm fairly certain, and I was telling the guys there that I saw 2 days ago, because they're always like, damn, dude, you rolled your ankle. Everyone knows I, like, roll my ankle there, right?
Yeah.
And they're like, damn, what happened? And I'm like, I'm fairly certain that I slipped on somebody's sweat.
Yeah.
Right? And then they go, it's probably Ian's sweaty ass. I don't even know who Ian is. But I'm like, yeah, he's a sweaty motherfucker, right?
Yeah.
Because I know my body well enough and like how it should move. And I know, like, as I was cutting into the lane on a crossover, I'm leading with my left foot. And as my heel hit the gym floor, it slipped.
Just went out from under.
It just went out. Yeah. And then all of my weight went into my ankle.
Yeah.
While I was running, you know, like there's no reason that should have happened unless like the floor was like wet somehow, right?
Yeah. That's definitely.
But when people are playing for 3 to 4 hours and there's 15 to 20 like sweaty ass dudes up there, like,
it's not like you have people cleaning the court and shit, right?
Yeah, this isn't like fucking.
Yeah, you're talking about the local gym here.
Yeah, it's LA Fitness. I don't give a shit about that floor. So that obviously that kind of sucks, but.
And then you also have, you know, the tragic death of the cat, the house cat, Bubba.
It's still fucking me up. You see,
yeah, it's got to. I mean, shit, fucked me up a little bit too, and it wasn't even my cat.
I know it fucked us all. It fucked us all up, man. I don't think we were ready for it. And what hurts now is like, see, I'm at the point now where I don't like tear up at least, right?
Yeah.
Because like the first week, I was fucking wrecked. Dude.
Oh, yeah.
I was a mess.
Yeah.
And now it's a couple weeks later, I'm like, okay, I got this, right? I'm just gonna keep going, doing I'm living life, all right? But I go home. This is how I'm trying to adapt to being an adult, right? I'm 29 years old, and whenever I was like feeling down or whatever, it's nice that I'm 10 minutes from home. Mm-hmm. You know, you get to see the fam. Maybe you're there, Cass there, you know, the family's there, and my cat's there. So I go there to like eat dinner last night and eat a burrito. And I'm standing at the top of the stairs and I'm like looking down in the living room and I'm like, dude, he's not coming up. He's not coming up to see me. And it fucking wrecks me, dude.
Yeah. It's tough. How old was he again?
He was 13.
13, yeah.
It just kills me. But now
he was a lively cat too. It's not like he was like an old 13 where it's like,
he acted like he was like 6.
Yeah. He had a lot of years left.
He was still a kiddie, you know?
Yeah.
And now I'm at this point where being an adult, it's like, okay, now when I'm really sad, like I used to just say, I'm going to go home and see my cat, right? Now I can't do that.
Right.
And I'm like, well, fuck me.
Yeah, that hurts. It's just like a stab to the heart, right?
Yeah. It's tough. But
now you got to be able to change and, you know, circle back to being adaptive, right? It's like, how do you adapt to that? It's like what do you do now? It's like, shit, I don't know. I'm fucking lost right now.
I am fucking lost right now. But what I have a different goal in mind, and it's need to be financially more. I need to budget better, obviously, but that's what we've already talked about that.
Yeah.
I just need to get a house, right? I can't have a cat here. The place is too damn small for a cat. And me and Lisa are gone too often, right? To even, like, you can't get a kitten and then work 10-hour days. Don't do that to the kitten.
Yeah, it's not fair, right?
It's not fair. People are like, oh, it's a kitten. It's not a puppy. Like, it's still like a baby animal, right? Like, it needs the interaction with you.
You
right?
can't do that.
And I can't do that now. So, like, my goal is need to save up as much money as soon as possible so I can get a spot to have a new cat, right? And I feel like that's the only other way.
Yeah.
That's the only other way
has to be done.
That's what I'm saying.
I think Bubba's soul is just waiting.
That's what I'm saying
he's
too.
Like, come on, man, get your shit together.
So you get another fucking cat.
Because I'm freaking waiting for you.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. So I'm adapting to that situation on how to deal with, like, my emotions in this moment,
Yeah, I feel that.
And the other thing that's been causing me in this week trying to adapt is, like, the publishing thing. Because we already talked a little bit about it before we even, like, started recording, but I've gotten, like, a couple emails about how the publishing thing isn't going to work with the hybrid publishers. And I'm basically back at square one that I was at a month ago, just out of my laziness, because I sent the manuscript out to a couple publishers in hopes that somebody was going to just, like, take the reins on it and be like, all right, we'll take it from here.
We'll run with this.
Exactly. And I just, like, pay them a little bit and they would do it, right? And then
how long did you work on the book for? How long did you write it?
I started writing it last year. Well,
okay.
So I started compiling a lot of my notes. So this book is a compilation of things that I've written during the years of my sobriety and a couple of years leading up to when I got sober. And it's just like a compilation of all that. So I had taken, like, I have stacks of papers, right?
Yeah.
Like, I still have stacks of papers in my closet of, like, just hardcore poetry, right? That I just haven't sorted. But I took everything and sorted it all out, polished it up, put it into sections that kind of have a theme to each one. Like, there's 4 parts of the book. Like, I put a lot of work into this. And then I did even more work in January and February. And I finally got to the point where it was pretty much done in June or at the end of May. And that's when I had to start, like, seeking out editors, right? Like, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. How the fuck do you write a book? I thought you just write it, And lo and behold, there's so many steps to this shit, right? I could have found a literary agent, like an actual agent for an author who's going to send my shit out to traditional publishing companies. And I didn't really think that this book was, like, up to those standards, right? And I just don't know anything about the industry, right? So now I'm at this point where I need to adapt. I need to be more persistent. I need to start hitting people up. I got to find the designer for the exterior and interior of the book.
Yeah.
I just found a proofreader this week. I'm sitting there Monday. I'm, like, a little defeated. But at the same time, I'm sitting there reading the email from one of the publishing companies that are like, yeah, your manuscript, we liked your manuscript, but it just wouldn't fit here. And I'm, like, sitting here reading it, and I'm like positive. I'm like, I was waiting for this. I really just needed an answer that I needed to get off my ass again.
Yeah.
Because
just that reassurance that, you know what? Fuck this. I gotta fucking make some moves here. I gotta go for this, right?
That's what I'm saying.
Like, I think it's almost like these steps need to be taken, like, step by step, where it's like, okay, I wrote this book. Now I need the editors publishing all this, that, and other. But, like, you almost just, like, finish that first step of actually writing it, and then you kind of take your foot off the gas. You're like, okay, let's just, like,
but it's out of,
we
like,
did the main thing. Now it's just like, boom, put it out there, and it's all, like, sunshine and rainbows. But it's like, no, fuck no.
But it's almost, like, out of fear.
Yeah.
I let my foot off the gas because I'm like, this is, like, unknown territory to me.
Yeah.
Right? And, like, even with, like, the music thing and publishing music, I wasn't as clueless with that because it's like you could fucking put anything on SoundCloud now.
You could just
right?
whip it up, throw it out there. Yeah,
That's what I'm saying. Like with this, it's like a whole nother industry, a whole nother ball game, and it's just been a whole lot of like ups and downs and foot off the gas and stuff, right?
Yeah.
So now I'm becoming more adaptable to not even just being an author. Now I have to be my own front man. Now I have to be my manager. Now I have to just keep going.
Yeah.
Right.
You have to just like do it all yourself. Right. And obviously there's going to be help along the way and you're going to run into some people that are going to help you. But it's like, I think when you have that mentality that it's just like, I'm like going to get this out there, and it's just like, I think you just have to always circle back to the why. Like why did I write this? Why am I trying to get this out there? And then it's like when you can just be so like deeply rooted in your why, then it's just like, all right, fuck it, nothing else matters. Like I'm gonna make sure that this gets on the shelves so that somebody out there is gonna read it and it's gonna like change and save their life. But it's just like, I think in anything we do in life, you get so caught up in just like the day by day, and then like I said, you hit these steps or you hit these milestones, and then it's almost just like your brain telling you, okay, like we can relax now. Let's just like take a chill pill. We got through this step of the process. Now we can just like wait and kind of just chill out here until something else comes along that's going to kick us back in gear to move to the next step of the process. But it's just like the truly great people that are amazing at changing their lives, changing the lives of people around them, and just adapting on a daily basis are the ones that just don't sit in that waiting period. They don't just fucking
they don't
go step by step and just wait and inch their way along and just do one thing and then wait for something to like some stimulus to come knock them in
a direction.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and they get back up and go, and it's just like you just see it in their eyes and the way they talk and communicate. It's just like, fuck, this person is just going, and they just have a mission and a vision, and they're just going for it each and every day, and nothing's stopping them. And it's just like wake up every day with that type of mentality, and you'll get there, right? Like you'll change for sure. You'll adapt to whatever situation's thrown at you, and you'll be able to put that book on the shelf then.
It's humbling though.
It is,
because I've had that. It's tough because I had the mentality like that when I was doing a lot of drugs, right, or drinking.
You just have these like profound visions.
These profound visions of I'm gonna do something fucking badass.
Like you could hit the highest of highs and the lowest of lows.
Lowest of lows,
right?
And unfortunately, the lowest of lows like made
dismantles those highs.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
It makes those highs almost like unachievable. You're just like, the fuck was I thinking?
Yeah,
I'm
exactly.
fucking crazy in the head. Right?
But now after like years of being sober, it's like I'm trying to channel that on a daily basis, you know. But also it's like it's unknown territory because like with you were reaching a limit to what you could do as a runner with your own knowledge, and that's when you got a trainer.
Yeah,
that's when you got somebody to steer you in the right direction. You adapted to that situation. For me, I would need to hire like a manager.
Yeah.
Somebody who's done this before. Somebody who like a publicist almost.
Right.
Like, hey, steer me in the right direction. I'm literally just trying to get myself out to the world.
Yeah.
Right. Whether that's going to be through the books, the podcast, the social media, whatever, you know. And that's probably my next fucking step. You know?
And it comes down to the financials, right? And it comes back to that financial stress,
it's
the money, right? And it's just like, what are you willing to spend, or like how willing are you to actually like make this happen? Because it's like, yeah, at the end of the day, it's just like you got to put fucking money into it, right? Like that's what's gonna have to happen. So, but then it's just like, okay, is my money going in the right places? Am I spending it in a
and that's what scares people
way
though.
To like actually get this off the ground? You know, like for me with my running, it's just like I'm spending money on my coach who coaches me. I'm spending money on my diet. I'm spending money on my shoes. I'm spending money on clothing to run in, all this stuff, right? And it's just like I always try and keep that in line with my budget, and then also just keep it in line with, okay, like how can I constantly get better? How can I constantly be tweaking what I'm eating to maybe suit how I'm training and stuff like that, right? So it's a little bit different from my perspective because it's like my spending is very linear, so to speak, right? It's just like, okay, like it's like a 1-to-1 type ratio versus your type of spending is almost like compounding.
I was
it's
actually going to
almost
say
like
mine's
exponential,
I was
right?
going to say it's definitely exponential.
Yeah,
for sure.
Which is like anything you try, any type of venture, a business you're trying to start up, you know, just anything that you're trying to scale, you're gonna have to find every dollar that you spend is so magnified because it has to be spent the right way if you really want that. You
want that you want it to go in the right direction,
right?
But that's why I'm hesitant.
Growth.
That's why I've been hesitant this year. Like I told you, like I finished the book like at the end of May, right, or the start of June.
I mean, you're talking about a couple of months back.
Months back, and to be honest, like I needed to change this week. I found a proofreader, right? Like I was talking about it. Some guy I'm gonna be very happy with. I hope at least, right? But I was like dragging my feet. I'm like, I don't want to just like throw my money at shit.
Yeah, you
I don't
definitely
have
have
a lot of it.
I think vetting the right people is super important. How do you decide who to work with and who not to work with? A lot of it comes down to like how trustworthy they are, what kind of relationship you can develop with them just like by literally just talking to them, right? Because it's just like if you don't feel that connection or you feel like, man, like this is like just seems like a stretch, then it's like maybe this isn't the right person to be working with. But it's just like when you can like just call on your own intuition and really intuitively know, like, you know what, this is who I'm supposed to be riding with now. Like let's do this. You know?
Yeah, that's pretty much what happened with this guy this week, though.
Yeah,
because I could have definitely like taken like one of the cheaper options, you know. But just the way I was talking to this guy and looking through the things that he's worked on, I'm like, I vibe with this guy.
Yeah,
you know,
and that's what's up. That's what it's about. So.
Yeah, and we'll hope for the best on that.
Yeah.
You know, like shit. Like I said, like I'm just trying to like change and be more open to the world and like what it has in store for me. But it's scary territory, you know.
It is.
I'm just some kid who lived under a rock doing a bunch of drugs, right?
Yeah.
You know? Like I was pretty extroverted in high school and at the start of college, but like I flew way under the radar.
Yeah, you just kind of like tucked in and just said, yeah.
I was like, fuck the world. Now I'm like, I'm coming out my shell again.
Yeah.
You know, and it's a scary thing because now there's money involved. Before it was like my personality. I don't mind about my personality. I'm very enigmatic and charismatic, right? Like as a person. But now something else is on the line.
Well, yeah, you say money, but I think like even if you could think of more of the approach of like, instead of thinking of it as like, man, like money's tied to the end of this, money's at the end of the equation, which like obviously everybody needs to make a living for themselves. You need to be able to support yourself, your family, friends, all that. But it's like, maybe it's not so much about the money at the end of the equation, but it's about the impact, the influence, like that's something that it seems like you might want to seek out. It's just like, who do I want to touch? Who do I want to like help in this world? Like what kind of message do I want to deliver to them and how are they going to receive that?
But
right?
The fear I've had, and I've kind of just been answering this in my head. It's like, okay, what if I throw $1,000 at the wrong thing and I'm not able to get my message out to those people that I desire to, right? That's like the fear.
Yeah, the fear, and then it's just like, well, there goes $1,000.
That's
Let's
what I'm
try
saying.
$1,000 here, $1,000 there. It's just like comes back to like your willingness to see that out. Well, like, you know what I'm saying? To see that vision out. Like you've got to start with that why though. It starts like why do I want to write this book? Why do I want people to read this? Why do I want this podcast to take off? Why do I want this, that, and other? And it's just like once you start understanding and unraveling the why behind it, it's like, well, I had a serious drug problem and I was in a very dark, nasty place. And now I feel like I'm thriving and I feel like I can help inspire people. And it's like, that's the message I want to convey to them or whatever that looks like. Right. But it's just like that once you like come at it from that approach, then it's like things start falling into place, like
what's the intention behind it?
Yeah, exactly. So,
I just have to
that's where that's where that adaptability comes in, as the main subject of the podcast is right there. It just comes down to wanting to elicit that change, being willing to change and then doing everything in your power to always hone back on the why behind it, you'll get there.
Yeah, I think it's being able to adapt to that stress. I mean, you're stressed from your work, and I'm stressed from work, obviously.
Yeah.
But, you know, we talked about how stressful, like, money is on this podcast today, and just, like, now we talk about, obviously, my health, rolled ankle and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I can't really say, like, your health is stressful at all because, like, you've got a pretty good hold on it. You're not injured or dealing with any eating like shit or whatever. Yeah, I think it's just really, like, taking these things that happen in our lives and being able to change who we are in them. So if some of these situations that are coming around now, maybe it's PTSD in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking a lot about money, right? Because like we said at the beginning of the podcast, we've been broke before.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to be broke anymore, right?
No.
And I have a limited supply of this money. And if I want to be able to reach the world as fast as I can, it needs to be allocated correctly. Mm-hmm. But maybe I just need to realize, like, hey, I'm going to fail. Maybe I put it in the wrong place. Who cares? Then I just have to redo my budget. Then I have to adapt. I can't just drag my feet for 3 months after writing a fucking book because I don't know what I'm doing.
Right.
That's not fair to the people waiting for the book.
Yeah.
You know
somebody
what I'm saying?
needs that, right? And it's just like, you just got to let it rip, right? Just go for it. And I think the right things will fall into place, but you just have to
keep chugging along.
Yeah, you just have to go for it, man. Yeah.
So I mean, what else can we like talk about in terms of adapting?
That was a weak burp there.
I know. It was like at the back of my throat type of burp. It kind of sucked. I think it was weird because, or not weird, but I think it was funny you mentioned like those go-getter type people, the ones that are like, they have their direction. They're always doing. They have this vision. They're not waiting for a sign to come and tell them to go in a specific direction. And I think one of the bullet points I like wrote down here was, are there any wake-up calls that'll force you to actively adapt? How can we like look for them? Like those red flags or just like a warning light?
Yeah, that's great. I think.
Or do we just like tune it all out completely and then just always be ready to just adapt in the moment? Like some animal. It's almost like fight or flight.
Yeah, you're just like, what the fuck's going on?
But you can't be that frantic. You know, we're not fucking animals.
A lot of it comes down to just having what type of approach, right? Like, is it proactive? Is it reactive? A lot of the time when I deal with just stress or any type of change in my life, usually more times than not, the change is in a reactive manner, right?
Yeah.
I'm usually reacting to some type of circumstance, whatever have you, whether it be an emotional one, whether it just be environmental, some type of just relationship change, anything like that. It's usually like in a reactive manner. So like from that standpoint, you're kind of on the defensive, right? Like you're just reacting to something that's happening to you, and you just need to somehow come up with the right way to handle it. I think that's the main approach when it comes to like the warning signs, is you just kind of react to, like, there's no way to actually kind of sense or foresee or plan for that. It's just, you just reactively, intuitively have to be able to cope with it and just best be able to manage it, so to speak. But I think something that's really important on the adapting standpoint is taking more of that proactive approach to it, right? And it's just like, how can I use initiative and resourcefulness to change?
I think there's a certain aspect that you can be proactive with, like, because you just named off a couple things where it's like, yeah, you have to be on the defensive for that.
Yeah.
But then there's a couple things where you can adapt in this moment and be ready for that change, which would be like health.
Yeah, it's just like,
that's a huge thing.
like the reactive approach are usually like things happening to us, right? But it's just like, when you get out in front of things, you want to change your health, you want to change your diet, you want to ask somebody out on a date, you want to do this, like, this proactive change. I think that's where like that true real good growth comes. Now obviously there's a ton of growth that's going to come on the reactive standpoint.
Yeah, of course you can't
but
like
I think
plan
to
for
hone into like that threshold that I talked about earlier, like what's that adaptability threshold? Like how willing are you to make changes? How in tune, or how just like what, like level of ability do you actually have to sense that change? And I think it starts on the proactive side of things, just like seeking that out. It's like, you know what, I want to change. I want to start something new. And then once you start doing that, then that reactive is almost second nature. Then when things start happening to you, it's like, oh, I can handle this now. I can actually take this in, compartmentalize it, understand it for what it is, and then grow, learn, and move on from it. Versus like before, maybe not, because you just always were reacting to things. You never actually took the
actually learned
first. Like once you can proactively make changes in your life, you reactively will be able to make those changes a lot easier.
Oh, of course.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, well, you've been trained to do it at that point, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like your brain works in a different way. Then it's just like, yeah, we could handle this. Like we make these changes all the time. Let's go.
Yeah, let's just keep rolling with it.
Let's just go. Make a 6-pack and get crazy ripped muscles. Yeah, we could do that.
Yeah, we could do that right now. Well, I think I wrote down a conclusion here, too. What was the conclusion? Actively adapting to things and being proactive instead of letting the warning signs fade away until life hits us with too much all at once. And having a good grasp on things that are changing in our lives and understanding the next chapter in our life may call for more humility or hard work in general.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty important. It was funny that you said proactive. Did you get that from that?
No.
Or did you just start saying that?
Yeah.
Because I had that written down.
Nice.
That's
How
crazy.
about that? Yeah.
Look at that. Fucking A.
The brothers.
The proactive brothers. But yeah, I think we touched base on a lot of good points today.
Yeah, absolutely. I think this is great. Just that adaptive. I think we said the word adaptive about 819 times. So there's a lot of, hopefully it's sunk in with anyone listening. It definitely sunk in with me.
So I mean, I'm going to probably just write the word adapt like 100 times before I go to bed tonight.
Yeah.
I actually paid for a new program that it's a scripter. So it transcribes the podcast.
Okay.
So I'll put the WAV file into it, and it'll pull out our voices. So those YouTube videos I did for days, all 13 of them, and transcription. So if you go on YouTube and play those, it has the closed captioning on them.
Really?
Yeah, because I uploaded them.
That's cool.
Yeah, and the transcription thing puts the conversations on the web. So if people were to search adaptive mentality, also I'm not paying for top tier Google search algorithm, right? But if people were to search sentences in my podcast like John Cerone adaptive, the podcast will come up because I've now transcribed them all, and I've literally spent all week throwing all the scripts onto all of my podcasts.
Nice.
Yeah, so now I got to do all that shit.
Yeah,
which is a pain in the ass, But yeah, we've said adaptive probably 800 times, but I just want to remind people that that's a big part of life, Yep. Anything else you want to say?
Nah, that's it from my end. Just try and be great every day. Spread some love, positivity. Help your fellow human out. Animals too included. Just
Don't forget the plants.
Plants, yeah.
Plants are big.
Living things, non-living things, just
things.
Just be a good person.
Be a good person. There you go.
Just when you walk by somebody on the street, just smile.
Just give them a smile.
Just maybe a high five will do. It'll really change someone's day. When I'm out there running on the paths, I just give them a nice wave or a little peace sign, and you could tell when someone's running and they get that, it just lights them up.
They get it.
Because it happens to me when someone waves at me when I'm running. It's I needed that. Thank you.
Sometimes when I get a hello or a wave from an old person, I'm like, oh, thank you.
Yeah.
And I talk shit about old people all the time, but sometimes their smile is reassuring. It's I'm going to make it.
Right.
I'm going to be all right, Yeah, I appreciate everybody tuning in tonight. Hopefully we didn't bore the fuck out of you. Just remember to stay adaptive out there. Feel free, and we'll see you next time.
Later.